Guantanamo Bay. We'll find some place for Cheney and Bush. And the end of the rendition program in which suspects are kidnapped and taken to secret foreign prisons to be tortured. All contracts for mercenaries, including all those with Blackwater, are being canceled. This includes contracts with the Department of Defense, the CIA, and the Department of Homeland Security, which, by the way, is being abolished. No more Blackwater troops terrorizing the poor people of New Orleans. I have also pardoned a host of political prisoners, including Border Patrol agents jailed for 12 years apiece, doing their job against a Mexican drug smuggler bringing 700 pounds of cocaine across the border. Agents Campion and Ramos are now free. Possession or use of small amounts of marijuana. I've got to admit to you, however, I have not pardoned Scooter Libby. He's at least going to have to pay his fine. Our values and goodness are not reflected by a government which promotes a globalization which depresses living standards at home and allows corporations to destroy the quality of life in banana republics and client states around the world. The WTO, the IMF, and the World Bank have caused untold suffering. If we can't reform them, we will abolish them. With respect to our relationship with the government of Mexico, I have ordered the cancellation of the Security and Prosperity Partnership, or North American Union. Abandonment of plans for a NAFTA superhighway, which would have put nearly all American longshoremen and truckers out of work. And suspension of NAFTA completely until the government of Mexico gives its workers union rights, protections for safety, health, and the environment, and wages at least matching the U.S. federal minimum wage. From now on, globalization will mean raising living standards in developing nations to match ours, not the other way around. And of course, raising living standards doesn't mean that they copy our way of life. We have to do better with respect to our use of energy and protection of the global environment, and we must be a model for other countries around the world as their living standards increase and their use of energy increases. And we is not enhanced by an organization which promotes instability, insurrection, tyranny, torture, terrorism, murder, and war around the world in our name and with our money. If the CIA won't stick to gathering intelligence, I will abolish it. Our values and goodness are not reflected by a government which sends its working class youth around the world to kill the sons and daughters of working people in other countries. Our values and goodness are not reflected by sending our children to the Middle East to kill Arabs so the oil companies can profit from selling the oil under somebody else's sand, making us the target of terrorists. No more Iraqs. No more Kosovos. No more El Salvadors. These are not isolated incidents of stupidity. They're part of a long, bloody history of foreign policy being conducted for the financial interests of the wealthy few. It is a new form of colonialism. It violates our Constitution. It endangers our national security. It mortgages our future. It sacrifices our children. It must stop, and it just did. Not the financial interests of Folgers, Chiquita Banana, Exxon, and Halliburton. Now, needless to say, there will be no nuclear attack on Iran. Jimmy Carter, my special envoy to the Middle East, will be meeting with them to solve our differences. And once he is finished there, he'll straighten out the Israelis and Palestinians. Now, with over 60 years having passed since World War II, and with the Cold War long since over, I see no reason why we should be occupying Germany and Japan. Our global military presence will end within 2 years. This is not isolationism, it is common sense. It is in the security interest of our people, and it is following our Constitution for a change. Instead of a worldwide military presence, we will have a humanitarian presence. Along with the other wealthy nations of the world, we shall initiate a new Marshall Plan, providing funds to rebuild the Middle East as we rebuilt Europe after World War II. We will also have a domestic Marshall Plan, fulfilling the unkept Bush promises to rebuild New Orleans and the surrounding area. In addition, we will take the lead in complete debt forgiveness for the poorest countries, starting with those in Africa. If we are once again to be a great nation, we must first be a good nation. Finally, I'd like to speak directly to the American people. I understand that I am but an interim president. I could never have been elected under the present system. I know I tried in 2000. And I am unlikely to even finish out this term, partly because I have terminal cancer from Agent Orange, and partly because there are powerful interests with hundreds of billions of reasons to want me assassinated. By the way, if you suddenly hear that I have committed suicide by shooting myself in the back with a shotgun 3 times, you might want to be just a little bit suspicious. They'll call you a conspiracy theorist. That's all right, be suspicious anyway. But you know, it won't matter. They can kill me, but they can't kill what we started. It's too late for that. My words, heard tonight by a few, will tomorrow reach many. Through the internet, the vision of the patriots will spread across the land and around the globe. You, the American people, will not let it die. I'm unlikely to get there with you, but like Brother Martin, I have been to the mountaintop, and I have seen the promised land. What I have seen is an America in which every person, regardless of their race, creed, color, age, or sexual orientation, is valued and lives in dignity. Every person is cared for. Every person is free to choose his or her life partner. And every person is free to reach his or her full potential. It's an America in which every family can be supported by one wage earner with one job paying a living wage. It is an America in which single parents can freely choose to stay home to care for their children, or to work outside the home in the knowledge that their children are cared for in a safe and nurturing environment. It's an America in which health care is provided to all as a right. It's an America in which our youth spend perhaps 2 years serving in the American World Service Corps, maybe serving in the Peace Corps or the AmeriCorps or Habitat for Humanity or some other worthy organization, in exchange for their higher education. It's an America in which education is freely available to all, including whatever advanced education the person can successfully handle, and in which educators and teachers are highly valued and financially compensated accordingly. It is an America in which